Okay, so here we go with our fourth video, I believe today. Yeah, fourth one. We've got Bippity Boppity for the fairy godmother from Cinderella, and then Kiss the Girl, which is the first one that came to mind. And like all of the other ones today, this is a faux calligraphy demo. This is not teaching you how to do it per se, but I am telling you how I do it, little tips and tricks, things that help me, and then of course demonstrating it live. So, here we go. Now as you see, I'm also taking these letters in parts. So that was an upstroke, and now we're doing a downstroke. And we're going to go ahead and thicken. And what makes faux calligraphy look fancy is the thickening of the downward strokes. Which is another reason why taking the letter piece by piece is what you want to do, so that you can catch all of those downstrokes when they happen. I'm also using a Inkjoy gel pen, a 0.7 millimeter by Papermate. I like the gel pens because they write smoother, the ink flows out, and there's no weird indentations like you get with a ballpoint pen. So, as you can see, you don't have to do a lot to make the lines thick. As you can see, this one is a lot thicker than this one, but this isn't terribly thick compared to this upstroke here. And sometimes I make the thickness very slight, and sometimes I don't. And the fun thing about lettering is with each letter, with each stroke, you can try something a little different. And that is my child escaping, as she's been doing all day. So, one thing I don't recommend trying to do a lot of when you're trying to letter is talk. Lots of lettering while you're trying to talk can lead to you writing something that you're saying or stopping, which stopping mid-letter is bad. And as you can see, I come to good stopping points, but I don't stop in the middle of a letter. Like in the middle of a curve or an upstroke or a downstroke. I stop at the natural junctures between each. And now we can do our little heartsies. And because I don't have a lot of space over here, right? But I have a lot more here, so I can do like this. And there we go. And that's another reason that you want to go ahead and do your I's and your T's, your J's and whatnot at the end, this X as well, so that you know how much space you have to do all of these flourishes, if you want to do a little extra tail or whatnot. And you don't have to use pencil guidelines. I do it partially for spacing, because spacing is super important. And as you can see, there's not a whole lot of space between the B and the O here, but there's a significant amount of space between the two P's. And that'll matter for where I place the thickened parts of my lines. And of course, if you place them two together, you can always thicken just less. But you can also thicken on the side away from where the next letter is. And that way, there's still a good amount of space between these two letters. And then I'll thicken on this side. And so that way, you still get the effects you want, but you don't have to worry about the two letters crowding each other. If I had thickened on the outsides of both of these lines, then that would have closed the gap between the B and the O and made it look very jumbled and cramped. And I love faux calligraphy because it's very accessible. You don't have to be a master penman to do it. All you have to do is remember to thicken on the downstrokes. And you can thicken or you can just draw a separate line. I've done that before. I made some Yule cards a few years ago, and that's exactly what I did. And I made the lines extra wide. So what ended up happening is I had enough to color in between and then decorate it really nicely. And so you don't have to do a whole lot to make your writing look nice. But practice, daily practice is helpful. And just, you know, doodling, playing with the letters, having fun with them. You know, I consider this kind of a hobby of mine. It is something that enters my business, but it's not such an integral part of it that I feel that it's stress and pressure to do it. And there we go. So we have bippity boppity, and you know, you can also play around with flourishes. I am not at the point that I'm doing that consistently yet, because there's kind of an art to doing flourishes. But what you saw before was a nice little script, and now it looks even nicer, and it gives us some fun and character. So now we'll do Ariel's, and then we'll cut this video off because I've been doing 2 quotes per, so that I know that my screen doesn't die and my phone doesn't overheat. And I will try to post all these tonight. If I don't get them up tonight before midnight, they'll be up by tomorrow. So and you can absolutely go and letter all the way through, and then come back through if you'd like to do that. I tend to not do that because it's easy for me to lose my place and where and what gets thickened, and it's easy for me when I'm going back through to make a mistake. But that is what I've discovered from trial and error. Now, some letters, as you can see with these S's, there is a natural stopping point here, but the letters also flow together very nicely. So you can also keep going. R is another letter that's like that.
No, ma'am.
All right. You can see I have a lot more space over here than here, and I try not to cross my letters over each other when it comes to these added parts to complete a letter. So I know I've got a lot more space on the other side, and I will be mindful of that when I do cross my T. And if you do use guidelines, make sure that you give your ink ample time to dry, otherwise you will have smears, and smears, once they've been made, cannot be fixed, generally speaking, so something to keep in mind. And here we go, we have an R, which does like to just flow all at once.
Go.
Alright, so there we go. We've got 2 more quotes done. I will go ahead and add the names to them at the bottom after this video is concluded. You can see the other ones there. What happens next is I have 4 more quotes, so that'll be 2 more videos. Again, it'll be 2 at a time. And I'll have little tips and tricks and what I do and little things that come to me about lettering to help you letter better and explain some of what I'm doing. And make sure you check out all the videos here on Patreon.